your Quran,
Yeah.
Muhammad or God describes how conception works,
Yeah.
how a woman is to be pregnant,
Yeah.
and how
Thank you.
the reproduction system works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing, absolutely.
But it is
correctly.
wrong. It's wrong.
What is wrong?
It's wrong.
Go on, tell me what is
You
wrong.
have a Quran?
That's not the Prince of Kenya, it's our wrong perception. So we perceived that's the Prince of Kenya
Yes.
because our judgment was wrong based on our incorrect perception.
Okay, so
So I'm explaining.
Go on.
People at that time, they perceived wrongly that Jesus Christ was crucified.
Yes.
Based on that perception, they spread the rumor. He's crucified, and then people started writing about this rumor and became a well-attested rumor. The Quran says exactly the same, that people thought he was crucified, and no wonder people believe what they believe. But in reality, God took him up.
So it appeared to the people that he died on the cross.
It appeared that he was
So let me
crucified.
ask you something very concrete, right? Why would Allah show to the people,
He's not showing.
make it appear as so, that's what you said, that Jesus was crucified. He made it appear as so.
No, he didn't make it appear. You didn't hear what I said.
Then what did you say?
People are guilty in their mistaken perceptions.
How can so many people be
Wait.
mistaken about this?
There are not many people. Initially, this event is not witnessed by many people. A few people may have been there, what was going on, spreading the rumor. When that spread, then people started talking about it more, about the rumors, this will happen. But history tells us another picture altogether. It tells us within the same time period, there existed communities of Christians that rejected this belief, didn't believe in the crucifixion, didn't believe he was on the cross and died. In fact, the writing that we have, like the second treatise of great steps, it talks about how Jesus Christ, sitting on top of the tree on a branch, looking at how they're crucifying Simon the Cyrene, and he's laughing at them and said, look, they got the wrong man. Historical document. Irenaeus and Origen, early church fathers, writing their books against the heretics, right? Against heresy. They are saying there are people who don't believe Jesus died by physical death, by crucifixion. So make sure you are very careful about them. Why are they writing so early? Because that belief that he was not crucified was so widespread that it was becoming a problem of orthodoxy. People would incorrectly, in their view, believe that Jesus was not crucified, so they took a task of importance to write about those people and say, don't listen to them. Christ was indeed physically crucified. So what it establishes, two things. The belief about Jesus not being crucified, very early within the community, spread wide, that demanded a response by church father. So what we've established is, historically, there are two branches of Jesus's death or his uprising, whatever it's called, ascension, right?
Sure.
We have both in existence. The rumor, unfortunately, got incorporated in the Bible and became the orthodoxy.
And when was this incorporated into the Bible, according to you? When was it?
Those who are writing about it.
From the very beginning.
Remember, no disciples wrote the teaching of Christ firsthand. No first-hand witnesses from the disciples.
It's unknown. You cannot deny it, but you cannot confirm it.
No.
It's unknown.
We have no records of it. Let's agree on that.
Luke and Paul.
Luke,
And Paul are confirmed.
what about Luke?
Luke was confirmed as the author, and Paul was confirmed as the author of the letters.
Was Luke an eyewitness?
Luke was not an eyewitness.
That's what I'm saying. There is no eyewitness. Paul and Luke, while Jesus was alive and the so-called crucifixion, none of them personally witnessed it. So there was no first-hand eyewitnesses of that historical detail. What we have, later writings by people, getting it from second-hand, third-hand, like Luke says. Many people are undertaking. It seemed good to me also to write an orderly account from my excellent Theophilus.
But he didn't do it out of nowhere.
Look,
he
look.
recollected information and he wrote.
That's what I'm saying. Precisely, you're agreeing with me. People, without the absence of first-hand testimony by direct witnesses, the rumors spread already.
But that's where he collected.
Hang on.
He
collected from the rumors. He did not have the mental agility, if I use the right word, the critical thinking mindset to distinguish between what is a rumor and what is historical truth.
Why not?
And
he was a historian.
No, I'll tell you why.
I'll
tell you why. When we examine all of these gospels, we find these authors are not trustworthy at all.
Why?
They make up stories, forge prophecies, and they say things which are incorrect historically. Let me start with an example. The first gospel in your Bible is the Gospel of Matthew.
Yeah.
The first page talks about something that is historically false, and Matthew presents this as true. How can we?
What was it?
I will tell you what it exactly was. If we can establish that what Matthew presents is historically false, then you cannot in any way, shape or form rely on Matthew as a credible author giving us accurate historical information. Do you agree? If we can establish that?
But that holds for everything. If something from a Bible or from an historical or religious book is not true, proven to not be true, then we cannot rely on extra information being reliable.
Agreed.
Okay, agreed?
The example is now... Agreed. The example. So when we look at Matthew, you have the Bible, if I may. Thank you. Very handy. So here is Matthew. Alhamdulillah. Matthew at the very beginning. Look, New Testament. First page has an historical error. I mean, you don't need to go that far. This is what Matthew said. Holy Bible, according to... I want to show to friend here. NKJV, yeah?
New King James.
Yeah, of course. You can pick any Bible.
Sure.
So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14. From David until the captivity in Babylon are 14. And from then onwards is 14. 3 lots of 14 generations. He says some or all. What's he saying there? Is it some of the generations or all the generations? Yeah. So, all the generations, right?
Sure.
From Abraham to David, how many did he say? 14.
Yes.
False. When we examine from Abraham to David, from the historical record in the Old Testament, it's more than 14.
More than 14.
So he cuts off certain people from the genealogy.
Okay.
It could be just he's lying about history in one way, or he's mistaken about history in one way. Then if we look at the people who have taken out, then it confirms our suspicion. Okay. Why he's not reliable at all. Let me establish that at least, right? 1 Chronicles chapter 3, verse 10, 14 onwards, right? He tells you the person is omitted is called Jehoiakim. Josiah beget Jeconiah, he says here, but he mixes the name Jehoiakim. And Jehoiakim, God cursed him in the Bible, that he will not have any descendants, him or others, to sit on the throne of David. And Matthew wants to make Jesus to be the son of David. So if Jehoiakim is rightly put back in there, then according to that genealogical line, Jesus cannot be the son of David. So he takes him away. So we cannot now say Matthew is simply mistaken. He took it out because it doesn't fit his theology.
Sure. I don't know how to answer that.
But look into it.
I accept that. Yeah. But then let me throw it back to you.
Yeah.
Because in your Quran, Muhammad, or God, describes how conception works, how a woman is to be pregnant, and how the reproduction system works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing, absolutely.
But it is
correctly.
Wrong. It's wrong.
What is wrong?
It's wrong.
Go on, tell me what is wrong.
You have a Quran?
Do you have a specific copy of the Quran? You can tell us.
The process that he describes on the Quran of the reproduction is
How much do you know about reproduction from science?
Enough?
Good?
Yes.
Good. Okay. just briefly tell me, what's the reproductive process? Go on, in scientific terms.
Reproductive process of humans, a man ejaculates inside of a woman's vagina, and from that sperm that is released onto her vagina, it goes through the uterine walls, and eggs are released previously, and those eggs are injected with sperm, and conception is achieved, and from there the ovule grows into fetus.
Okay, fair enough description.
Yeah.
Good. What does the Quran say?
Maybe from here.
No, I'm not sure which one he's referring to.
Yeah.
So where does the Quran say that it's not correct?
Surah Al-Nisa?
Surah number 4?
Yes.
Okay. Which ayah of surah number 4?
I'm not sure.
Okay, just rephrase what you've heard. The meaning. What you've heard, what it says.
What I've heard that it says?
Yeah.
The reproduction process that it describes is incorrect. I cannot remember the specifics
No,
of it. But
what does it say? In your own terms, what does it say?
I can't recall correctly.
Okay. I'll tell you, the Quran described in various places about human development.
Yes.
In Surah Al-Mu'minun, for example, it describes in detail. In Surah Al-Tariq, it describes about how two processes of, how the human itself comes out and how the human ejaculate of a man as well as the ovum is self-motile. So all of them are accurately scientific in details, and no scientist today can say there's any error of science in
Why
there.
don't we look for it?
Yeah, which one do you want to have a look at?
No Nisa. You
Not
have
on Nisa.
Mu'minun and Hajj and Tariq.
I can search.
You can search. I can go through, and you will see how amazing description it gives. Totally in opposite to what you say, describes that this cannot be information from other than God, because people had so much wrong information back then, and yet the Quran gives accurate information to today's standard.
But if people had incorrect information back then people would make mistakes in the writings.
People
that
make
might be interpreted
mistakes.
differently.
People make mistakes. People
Yeah.
interpret it even wrongly. But the Quran doesn't make any of those mistakes. That's why some of the scholars said, look, these are what the scientists say, and this is what the Quran says and our Prophet says. Even though it goes against them, this is what we believe.
If you show him this one, if he agrees with it.
Surah 23. Al-Mu'minun.
Surah Al-Mu'minun, exactly. So now, where is the error?
Can we read it?
Yeah, go ahead. Scroll down for English.
Then we develop the drop into a clinging clot.
Yep.
Then develop the clot into the lump of flesh. Then develop the lump into the bones. And then clothe the bones with flesh. Then we wrought it into being as a new creation.
Yeah.
The order is wrong.
What order is wrong?
The order is wrong.
Which
He
order?
says that they develop the clot into the lump of flesh. The clot developed immediately into flesh. And then it says that it goes through the
Slow down. Which order is wrong? So let's start with that. First, it describes a drop-like stage, right?
Yes.
That's exactly what we see under the microscope. Then it says
Yes, sure.
it develops into something that clings. That's exactly what it does. The embryo, with its umbilical cord to the villi, it attaches to the maternal uterine wall. Okay, so it's hanging and suspending. Then it says it develops into like a lump of flesh. That's exactly what it does. Something like a chewed lump of flesh. In its description physiology, this is exactly how it looks when you look at the embryo in a microscope. Then it says what? Then this is developed into bones, which are then clothed with flesh. Exactly what it does. The bones appear and the muscle aggregate within the developing bone, as science says.
But that's incorrect. Because
What's incorrect?
The skeletal system is formed before the flesh covers it.
The earliest form of a skeletal system, right? When you're talking about the osteocytes,
Yes.
the myofibrils, the myocytes, the precursors of muscles and precursors of bones. Scientifically, we know today that you have the bones developing, then as the cells develop and they aggregate together to form these bones, cartilaginous and then to hard bones. Muscles come together, they migrate from other, and they start attaching to those developing bones. So exactly as the
It
science
says that
says.
flesh is first. But
It doesn't say flesh. It
That's what
says
it says.
the word
First is flesh. And then
which
bones and then flesh covers bones.
you didn't realize is it says like this. First, it is nutfa, a drop-like stage. Then it becomes alaqa. Then it becomes mudgha. Then idam. And then fakasawna li'idama lahma. So nutfa, alaqa, mudgha, idam, and Kaswatul lahm. So flesh is at the end. What it does, it clothes it and covers it, like how you clothe yourself and
Then
cover
what does
yourself.
it mean when it says that first the creates lump of flesh? What does that mean?
That is mudgha, means like when you chew, if you had a chewing gum, yeah, and you chew, and you bring it out, it will have like a lump of thing, a lump, and it will have a teeth mark, what you've chewed. That's what we see in that stage of embryo when it develops from a
Like
hanging.
a little mass. That's what
It's structurally, it looks like this, where even the somites, which appears like a teeth mark, is visible. You can show some pictures maybe. That's exactly how we see.
Sure.
Exactly. And then the Quran says this is developed into bones, and the bones are covered into flesh. Here, the Quran doesn't actually say when the bones, when the muscles, oh there you go, thank you. When the muscles are created. Yeah.
even here.
So this is a diagram, of course. That's a real picture, one of the real pictures, where if you go and zoom in, you will see all the somites.
Spine.
No, the somites, okay, call it a spine, fine. So this resembling when you start chewing something, the teeth marks. So this is what it's resembling. So that is a stage the Quran is describing, and elsewhere...
Let's question it a little bit.
Huh?
You're describing it more than the Quran describes it.
No, the Quran says this mudgha is mukhallaqa and ghayru mukhallaqa. Partly formed,
in English.
partly formed and partly unformed in another place, right? When we look at the embryo at that very stage, the embryo is developing organs, half formed, not fully formed yet, exactly as the Quran describes. None of the organs are fully formed yet, part formed, part unformed. Yeah. So as it's developing, some of the organs are just developing partly, and it's not fully developing, and it goes on developing. So this is what the Quran is describing.
But it says flesh.
No. This is the English translation of the word mudgha.
And what mudgha means.
Mudgha, as I said, it's a chewed lump. When Arabs describe when they chew something,
So the translation is wrong.
translation is just
inaccurate.
translation is just a translation by the translator.
Sure.
So when you go to the Arabic dictionaries of what a mudgha is, it will tell you mudgha is a chewed lump. When you chew something, I've shown him already. Yeah, this is
Same picture.
This is Oh, your phone. So this is what they describe. The word for flesh is called lahm, which describes later on, after the bones.
I'm not sure. Because it depends. If you say mudgha is a different word.
Mudgha is not lahm. Mudgha is something that you chew, and it has all this form.
But then why, if it's mudgha, it's used once. First, when it describes lump of flesh, it's mudgha, and then the other one's lahm.
The lahm is when the bones are formed or forming, then it's clothed with,
What does lahm
covered.
mean? As a word, what does it mean?
Flesh, muscle?
Fresh muscle?
No, flesh or muscle.
And mudgha, what does it mean as a word in English?
No, in English I would say a lump.
Lump.
A lump, call it lump of flesh, but it's not really flesh.
Okay.
Because there's a distinction between them.
But then if it's different words in the verse, why is it used the same? Why is the same word used for two different words?
No. Different
It
words.
says flesh in both.
Different words. I'll explain to you again. Nutfa, drop. Alaqa, which is hanging, suspended, leech-like, right? Then mudgha, which is like a chewed lump. Then idam, which is bone. Then laham, which is flesh. So all the words within this sequence are different, with different meanings. They're not the same.
I understand that.
Right. So chronologically, when it comes to science, that's exactly how we see today. You can go and look at the Carnegie, I think it was Carnegie stage of development, human development, stage 1, stage 2, 1A, and so on, and it will tell you all of the stages, and look at the descriptions, morphological descriptions, picture of how it looks like. And that's how the Quran is describing. But when the Quran is describing, it's also having an additional layer of function being described. When it says alaqa is like, Arab calls alaqa leech.
Like the umbilical cord?
No, a leech. You know what a leech is?
Yes.
An insect in the water that sucks blood.
Parasite,
Parasite, yeah. So this is how, I've got it here. Right. Where is it?
Here, this one.
Yeah. So this is the human embryo diagram. Sorry, that's the human embryo as a diagram. That's the diagram of a leech. Okay. You know what a leech looks like. You don't need a diagram. But the human embryo, this is the umbilical cord, all of it like that, and that's the embryo itself. in different forms. Now, with the virtue of internet, you'll see real electromicrograph pictures available anyway. You can see it. So, how is the Quran able to describe so accurately something that is not visible in the naked eye? Because these are not visible in the naked eye. And that's the reality of things.
What takes away that they have studied?
None of the Greek, Roman, ancient Egyptian, the Indians, or even the Christian and Jewish community, none of them were able to describe anything like
The
that.
Arabs were excellent
No,
scholars.
the Arabs only became a scholar or scholarship after Islam, because the Quran said so. Go and study the world. Go and study how created the world. Go and travel in the earth. Only after them they became scholars. Before that, the Arabs were burying on their own daughters. Dates they eat, they started worshipping them. That's the science and technology that we had about them. So none of that. At that time, the Greek schools of thoughts in medicine, so contradictory from Aristotle, Galen, Hippocrates, and so on, saying the menstrual blood is needed or not needed, or is developed as a fully formed human being. Actually, picture is there. Embryology, I think it's there, pre-formation theory. Let's see if I...
So, if someone says...
If it's not there, they need to actually include it in the next version. It's not there. They thought, until the 17th century, 400-500 years ago, they thought in the sperm, there was a fully formed human being, just like that. And then go bigger and bigger and bigger. The Quran says no. God created you in the womb of your mothers in successive created stages.
I'll look more into it, but then
You can have this one. Is that okay? Can I give it?
But again, I mean, I wonder if it's in English. It's not in English.
It's in English?
No, it's not in English.
Oh, it's not in English.
What's your mother tongue, by the way?
What language is this? What language is this?
I can investigate
This is
myself. I don't need to
Portuguese.
look into
Portuguese. That's it. No. So, this book is available on the internet.
Yeah,
But anyway, what we're saying is, investigate the claims that you hear with a critical mindset, and then you will see.
But then we can go back to what you were saying about Matthew, right? That was one of the ways we could go about it. But when you say there were 14 generations, that the claim that 14 generations was wrong, what takes it up to you to decide that the concept that they had to define a generation is the same that we use?
No.
When you say 14 back then, what tells you that it's the same concept of generations that we might have now?
Two things. Whether generations means generation or not, 14 means 14 or not. All of them, Matthew's numerology, 14 actually means 14. Because he specifically wants 14, 14, 14 to make 42, because somehow apparently he spells out the name of David with that total number. So he has a symbolic numerology in mind. That's why he makes it 14. Even though the total genealogical list is greater than 14 in all of them. I didn't bring this up. I didn't discover this. It was the Jewish people when they were having discussion with the Christians, and they said, look, our book tells you about the genealogies, and this is where you took him out, took her out, and so on and so forth, just to make something like nicer, 14, something like a nice number and so on, but that is butchering our book. And Matthew does that because of symbolic numerology or
Does he
something.
say that in all the versions or only in the New King James Version?
You can check that in all, no.
What
you
about
can,
Codex Vaticanus or Codex Sinaiticus?
yeah, check that in there.
Yeah.
Check that in there.
Even if so-
I can't remember,
No,
but it's there.
It's fine, of course. But even if so, what you're saying that he wanted to say 14, the number might be 14, but the definition behind each one of the numbers might not be the same.
Yeah.
Because when today you say one generation, what does that mean? It says
It's not English.
But we're saying
Are you sure this is
he
my
begat.
son is my next generation.
But he says this person begat this, but there's no begetting. There's someone in between who his begetting is not involved there.
So there's someone in between.
There was someone in between. The father has been omitted, and then grandfather becomes the father of the grandson.
So it's three generations. What we would consider three generations.
And he makes
one
them two.
generation would be what we consider three. So that's like 30.
No,
that's
what I'm
14
saying is,
generations.
in the way he writes, he says Josiah begats Jeconiah, but Josiah did not beget Jeconiah. Josiah begat Jehoiakim, who begat Jeconiah. It's about begetting. Begetting is one
I know,
person.
begot comes from another.
Yeah. So he's taken that name. So that's one example to illustrate to you, okay, we need to take Matthew seriously in terms of what he said. Go to the next page. Just next page. He says, as was spoken by the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene. He prophesies that Jesus was prophesied by prophets, spoken by the prophets. So he gives a specific prophecy, he shall be called a Nazarene.
What's the point with that?
There is no prophets in the Old Testament ever said so. He just made it up. So two things can happen. Either, see a few things. Either there were prophets who said so, and it's lost. Matthew had access to them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Or Matthew just made it up. If the first option, that means the scripture of the past is not preserved. That's what it means.
Why?
Because it's no longer with us. There's no prophet that we can find in the Old Testament that said Jesus or the one that's going to come, the Messiah,
Yes.
is going to be called a Nazarene. It simply doesn't exist.
But you can be a Nazarene and be also son of David.
No. It says specifically, he shall be called a Nazarene. He shall be called Zakir.
Does me
Yeah?
calling you another name mean that
It's,
you're
no,
not that thing?
it's a call.
What's your name again?
Mansur.
Mamsud. If I call you, my name is Simon.
Yeah.
If I call you Simon, are you Simon?
I'm not
Necessary.
Simon.
Okay.
No.
So
But
he might be
do
called
you know how?
something
Do you
that
know?
defines
Do you know
him,
what?
but not
Do you know
fully.
prophecies? If it says, "Oh, he shall come riding 2 donkeys," and then he comes riding a horse, is that fulfillment of a prophecy?
Nah,
It needs to be donkeys, right? You can't substitute donkey with a horse because the words are specific. Likewise, if it says he shall be called Simon, he needs to be called Simon. So when Matthew says he shall be called Nazarene, that prophecy is non-existent.
And when else does it say that he shall be called something else instead of calling being? There's a difference between
There's
being
many
called
prophecies.
and being
There's
said.
many prophecies
Being
Matthew makes, which the New Testament writers say, "Yep, it was prophesied and fulfilled. Prophesied, fulfilled." But this one I'm saying is a prophecy that can never be fulfilled because he was not called by any prophecy in the past that he was called a Nazarene.
But maybe there's no prophecies for that exact reason, but doesn't mean that he didn't fulfill the prophecies.
No. It's not about other prophecies he didn't fulfill. Of course he can fulfill. All prophets that will come in the future, it is logical that the prophet at hand will say, "Watch out for that prophet. This is the signs and prophecies to recognize him." It's logical. So Jesus would have been prophesied. It's logical. And it's logical that he would fulfill some of the prophecies. I don't have a problem with that. But when we find people authoring and saying he was prophesied of this and that, and prophecy doesn't exist, that undermines the credibility of the author who writes about Jesus Christ.
But that's in the belief that just because there's no prophecy that calls him a Nazarene, that
False prophecy. Or invented prophecy, made up.
Well, you say there is or there isn't a prophecy that
There is no prophecy.
Okay.
But Matthew makes one.
Okay.
So you have to say either he made one up, so you can't rely on him because he just makes things as go along on the fly.
Because of what happened.
No, because of what he's doing. Or in the past there indeed was a prophecy, but it's lost. No one knows about it anymore. Two options which are logical. I'm open to both options. First option means in the Old Testament there are books and teachings that are not preserved because it's no longer there. Second option is he made it up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you go on other examples Matthew gives, it increases the credibility that he's uncredible because he keeps on doing it again and again and again. Like last example, because I have to go and pray, right? He says about the time of so-called crucifixion, graves of saints were opening up, and then the people with their, skeleton, they raised and they walked to multiple of people. I don't know what they were wearing there in their original clothes of when they were buried, or it was all disintegrated, just the skeleton, or is it the flesh, or is it how? We have no way of knowing that because Matthew doesn't say. He says the dead saints came up and they walked towards the city and was witnessed by multiple people. If that was the case, we expect, logically, many people to talk about generation after generation. You know what? My grandfather came back from the dead. We were so happy, and then they'll pass it on to the next generation. There will be whole historical memory about that incident. But guess what? No one talks about this. Not even John, Mark, Luke, Josephus. No one. No historian, whether they're pagan, Greek, Jew, even Christian writers. So scholars would say, look, such an event of that magnitude is expected logically to be reported by many people. Like if a dinosaur came up on the ground, look, if a dinosaur came up on the ground and started eating some of us and then went, and then only person that recorded is you, and no one recorded and talked about it, then people will say, what were you drinking or smoking? Because an event like this is expected to be recorded by my friend here. Many people here and there, right?
So if that's true, then why don't you hold it to the same standard that the beliefs in the Bible are heard by many others who
No,
witnesses to it?
what I'm saying is that particular incident, Matthew narrated. Remember, we are examining Matthew, his credibility.
Yeah.
So when Matthew does that, and no one else talks about it, when we expect people to talk about this incident, it's the resurrection of so many. To prove that God or Jesus resurrected himself, this is a clear example to demonstrate, right? How come no one else talks about it? To provide evidence for resurrection, there you go.
But there are a lot of people talked about Jesus resurrecting.
No one talked about these dead saints.
Well, no, about Jesus dying on the cross is what I meant.
No, I'm talking about the dead saints. This information Matthew provides, I am questioning of its historicity. Did it really happen? Because when we expect something like this, going towards multitudes of people, they should be talking to each other, recording, talking to, right? No one does. No historian transmits this information. So it becomes questionable. It becomes questionable because he's the only one reporting it. And changing historical narratives like the genealogy, inventing prophecies like Nazarene, it gives you the credibility that this author, Matthew, is really, really not reliable if you seriously think about it. Cumulative evidence.
So, that's a fair claim, but then I can say the same about, say, the Injil, the claim of the Injil existing, the claim of the stories.
The Quran says that God gave the Injil which He preached to the people, taught to the people. So Injil was a revelation that Jesus taught and preached, and that's the reality. Even the Bible says Jesus went and preached the gospel,
Yes.
the Injil.
But it was never recorded.
No, recording and existing are two different things.
Of course.
The Quran and the Bible both agree that there was a revelation that Jesus received from God that He preached as the gospel.
Not the same, because Jesus knew it as part of Him being God, and the Quran says that He received it as all the other prophets did.
Jesus
Difference.
never, ever once, ever made it clear to anyone, nor his mother, nor his brothers, that He was God.
Yes, He did.
Instead,
For Abraham, I was.
okay,
Me and the Father are one.
we'll go to these two examples. Instead, what we find, He identified who God was, that it wasn't Him. He said, "Oh Father," referring to the one in heaven, not Him. They should know that You are the only true God, and this is the eternal life. I'm paraphrasing.
Yes.
Knowing that You are the only true God, and You have sent me, I am the one sent, that is how you can get eternal life. He's actually giving the shahada, right? There's no God but God, and Jesus is the messenger being sent.
There's no God by God, yes, but God is part. Jesus is part of God.
You going? Yeah.
This,
No, He says, You are the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom You have sent. So He identifies the Father as the only true God. Only true God, not just God, the only one. So when I say You are the only mathematician in Speaker's Corner, can he be the mathematician? He can't, because I've excluded by saying only you.
But when he says only you, he doesn't exclude that the hypostatic union might include himself.
No, he says you the only true God. So when he says, this is how you should pray. Oh, our Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in heaven, hallowed be all of your name. All of your name be glorified. All of your will be done. No, he doesn't do that. I just made it up. He says something like this instead. Oh, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your will be done in the heaven and the earth. So the only person or only being that you should worship and pray to is the one in heaven who he identifies as the Father. And that's the Father that Jewish people understood as God of Israel, God of David, Jacob, and Solomon, God of the world. Okay? They call it Father out of like some kind of lordship and so on and so forth. Jesus
means Father.
It could have been Rab that became Ab in Aramaic.
In Aramaic, is Abba is Father.
Right.
In Hebrew,
We don't have Aramaic version of his statements at all. That's the problem. We have translations.
Greek. You have Greek.
We have Greek.
But Abba is not.
No,
Father in
Abba
Greek.
means father.
Abba is an Aramaic
But
word
we
that
don't
put into
know.
the
We
original
don't know what he preached in Aramaic. All we have is a transcription in Greek.
But Abba is not a Greek word.
No.
Abba is an Aramaic
It
word.
could have been Rab that became Abba in the Greek Gospels, because Rab means Lord and Ab means father. Rab and Ab can be easily interpolated.
The pater and mater in Greek, but that's not what it
No,
says.
no.
It
I'm
says
saying
Abba.
I'm giving you the possibility during translation and transcription that Rab could have been become Ab, because it's a different language altogether. That's why if you were to chase, is there a single instance of Yahweh, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, Tetragrammaton, Jehovah, in the New Testament? Not a single instance. Why? Because they could not find a substitute. So unique. But they found a substitute that you said earlier on, before Abraham was I am. Do you know what they did? It says, Prin Genomai or Genestai, Abrahamov ego eimi. Before Abraham was generated, I was or I am. So the word Abraham is Abraham. In Greek, in Hebrew, the same. So what's the word for I am in what he said, ego eimi? Ego eimi. So ego eimi is not a name of God. Translation of I am is a translation of ego eimi. Prin, ganomai or ganastay, in Greek is ego eimi.
But
Ego eimi is not.
He spoke.
No, look.
In Aramaic.
What I'm showing you is this. If he was to say before Abraham was I am, which is the name of God in Exodus, which is Yahweh, right? But the Greek doesn't say. It only says ego eimi, which is not Yahweh.
But these are events that were recorded in Greek so that the people could read them. You cannot mistake the event and the original language and the event from what was
The
written.
name Abraham is Abraham even in Greek.
But Abraham is a proper name. Yahweh is a conjunction of two different words that make up.
It's a name still. It's still
It's
a
a
name.
name still. Of
Still a
course,
name. And
but
that,
it's two
are you
different
saying?
words.
Are you
We
saying?
say Yahweh.
Good.
Two different words.
Are you saying that
say
name is
Yahweh.
impossible to say it in Greek?
A name is impossible to say in Greek.
Yahweh, you can't say Yahweh in Greek?
There must be a word for it.
Yeah, but they have not mentioned it at all, even once. So if I were to ask you, according to Jesus, what's the personal name of God? You won't be able to tell me.
According to Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't say it directly.
Yeah, you won't be able to tell me because he doesn't say.
But it doesn't say before in the Old Testament.
Now, but you are a Christian. Jesus has not given you that name. He did not mention it once. So as a Christian,
We don't know if he never mentioned it once. We just know what was
we have
written.
no record of it from him.
But we have records from it before.
But not from Jesus. Not from Jesus.
Doesn't matter. It came from
No.
before.
So Jesus comes along to talk about that he's God. He's saying no. He's God. He you should serve. He you should pray to.
But he also says, me and the Father are one.
Okay. What does it mean, one what?
One?
One what?
One what?
Okay.
One being.
We are all one. One what?
One group?
One group?
Sure.
Does that mean we're one human?
No?
No. So when Jesus says, me and the Father are one, they're one group.
You're going off the...
No. I am saying, to understand that statement, we need to know in context what it means.
I understand. You're
Now,
saying...
can you give me the context?
The context of what he is saying.
Yeah.
He's being questioned by the rabbis of Jerusalem. No?
So they were trying to stone him for blasphemy.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. So when they said, and he says, look, Abraham saw my day and he was glad. And they said, what, you? Not even 50 years old? How can you say Abraham rejoiced today seeing you? You weren't even there. You're not even 50 years old. To that question, he answered, before Abraham was? I was. So I was, or I am, it's not about I am God, it's about him pre-existing there at that time. We all believe we pre-existed even before we came into this world.
Okay,
so it doesn't.
I understand.
Now, not only this, he also says a few chapters later in the same Gospel of John, just as I and the Father are one, I pray that you all my disciples will also be one with us. So if the first oneness is one about divinity, he says it's exactly the same oneness. Just as I and the Father are one, so shall you be. That means the disciples are also one God if they are one God. But if the disciples are one, meaning one in purpose, then that's one in purpose between Father and Jesus. Purpose.
Okay, so you're denying that the word.
I am not denying.
No, okay, I understand
I
what
am
you're saying.
explaining contextually what it means.
Of course, you're explaining contextually that it means.
But
And in doing so,
I'm
denying-
disagreeing with your opinion.
Okay,
Yes,
of course,
interpretation.
denying that because Jesus never said directly that he was God, then it goes against the claim that he indeed is part of God, of the hypostatic union and the Son of the Father.
Not only that he didn't claim, he actually said things which will make him not God at all. He says, I can of myself do nothing. God can never say that.
The Son cannot do without the Father. You refer to.
He said, I can of myself do nothing. Simple statement. He says, my Father is greater than me.
The
God-
Father is greater than the Son. Yes,
No, he says greater than I.
Yeah,
So
the Father is greater than
look,
I am.
God is the greatest being. There's no one greater than God.
Yes.
So if I say someone is greater than me, I can never be God. Because God is the greater being, greatest being.
But doesn't.
No, think.
but
By definition, God is the greatest being. No one can be greater than God. Of
course.
Now, some people coming here and then saying, oh, someone is greater than me.
Yeah.
By that statement, you will be confirmed that that person can never be God because he has someone greater than him. And God is the greatest out of everyone. So anyone claims that I have someone greater cannot be God because God is the greatest being.
Not necessarily, because
Yes.
you can be part of the hypostatic union.
No, you can't. You can't be not great and great at the same time. Contradiction. You can't be God and not God at the same time.
He didn't say that he wasn't great. He just said that the Father was greater than you. That when
The moment he said Father is greater, that means he is lesser than the Father. You cannot be God being less.
But it doesn't say that he isn't God. It just says that he is
No,
lesser
no.
than the Father.
I am
You can be
saying
part of something with different words.
logically, if God is the greatest being,
Yeah.
and Jesus says someone is greater than him, logically speaking, he cannot be God. For him to be God, he has to say, I am the greatest, at least. The moment he identifies someone greater than him, he's not God. That's what we say, we deduce logically. This is how we think
I
logically.
don't think it's necessarily. I think those two things are mutually exclusive.
I
I think
think-
that you can say
I-
that the Father is greater than you and still be part of the hypostatic union.
If we define God as the greatest being, then we have to accept that anyone who's less than that is not God.
But he says the Father. He doesn't say God is greater than me. He says the Father. He says Father. He doesn't say
The
God.
Father
He doesn't separate
is
them.
not the Son, they're distinct.
Every time Jesus refers to God, he refers to the Father. He doesn't say
Sure.
God. He says the Father.
Do you think, okay, let me give you an example. Do you believe God is self-sufficient or does he need someone else to make him God?
God is self-sufficient.
I accept, I agree.
Of course.
Because God is independent and self-sufficient.
Yes.
So, if God was God, he doesn't need someone else to be even in existence for God to be God. Do you agree?
Naturally.
Exactly. If Jesus is God, does he need the Father to exist?
It's one.
No. If Jesus is God who is self-sufficient, does he need the Father to exist?
If you want to place it like that, it's incompatible because we consider
No, it's not
that
placing.
he is one. You could say, how can your being exist without you? If Simon, can Simon exist without
We have to
Simon?
go.
That
Okay,
doesn't make
we
any
have to go.
sense.
We have to go. We have to go.
I understand.
I have to go. Pleasure speaking to you. Think
Pleasure
about it.
speaking to you.
Maybe you can speak to him because I have to go and pray and then go. What was your name?
Simon.
Simon, I'm Mansoor. Wonderful
Imsun?
speaking to you. Mansoor.
Mansur.
Mansoor, yeah?
Pleasure meeting
I'm
you.
here most Sundays. If you come again, we can talk. Yeah?
Naturally.
Okay,
I'll come
all the
back
best.
next
Take care.
Sunday. I'll see you.
Inshallah, God willing.